Why did Sephora just drop Clinique? Beauty Independent asked me and a few of my colleagues at the board to weigh in. Let's get into it. So Clinique is one of the most legendary brands in beauty, and it's being scaled back in the world's largest beauty retailer, Sephora. So we have to ask, can Clinique exist in today's culture for today's consumer against today's competitive landscape and still hold true to its legendary roots? I personally think it can, and I'm going to tell you in 90 seconds what I think Clinique needs to do to become culturally relevant for today's beauty consumer. Number one, they need to revisit their brand positioning. They have a very strong DNA. They know who they are, but they've lost sight of that customer. They don't know who they're really competing against, and they really aren't leaning into what makes them different. Number two, they need to revisit their brand identity. I'm sorry, but white lab coats and beakers and really stark white backgrounds do not resonate with today's beauty consumer. They need to reimagine their entire brand identity. Number three, when you do that, when you make these sweeping changes to positioning and brand identity, you're gonna have a new language. They need to revisit their brand lexicon, and they need to do away with all of the anti-aging narrative. It just doesn't resonate anymore. Number four, they need to respect the product story. Clinique is a product-led brand, and they need to lean into that value proposition, that minimalist skincare, safe science, and clinical proof, but they need to bring in more innovation. They need to take bigger risks with textures and formats. Number five, they need to reflect the customer. The customer is still the woman who used Clinique in the 90s, but it's also now her daughter and her granddaughter. This multi-generational brand needs to reflect the aesthetics and the experiences of women across multiple generations. And finally, I feel like Clinique just needs to have more fun. Beauty is fun. One way that they can do that is through branded merch and collector's items. They also need a really strong celebrity strategy, in my opinion. So I think Clinique is ready for a comeback. I think they're ready for a revitalization. I think they can live on for 60 more years, but they do need to do a few things to get there. And if they need help, they can call on the board. I am a founding member of the board, and I'm among great community of beauty strategists and C-suite executives who love to dive right into projects like these and help brands reimagine themselves for 2024 and beyond.